As much as I talk about credit cards, there have been a specific few on my mind lately. Cards that I've been eyeing for a while but just haven't pulled the trigger on yet. These aren't necessarily your everyday run-of-the-mill options either. They're cards that offer something a little bit different, maybe a little bit extra, whether it's unique perks or just potential for serious rewards. Today, I want to share with you the 5 credit cards that I cannot wait to apply for and why they are so powerful for anybody that knows how to use them right. So first up, we have the US Bank Altitude Reserve. The US Bank Altitude Reserve is a luxury travel credit card in a sense, but it just does not get anywhere near as much attention as a card like the Amex Platinum or Chase Sapphire Reserve get. However, those that know about it or have it rave about its unique set of benefits, and I'm honestly jealous of people like Stan that have it already, and I just can't wait to get it myself. I'd say, to be honest, that this card is the best one credit card setup on the entire credit card market, but it does have some major drawback compared to other cards, so I want to start with those first. For one, it is a bit harder to get approved for this card just because it's a US Bank card, and US Bank is a little bit more inquiry sensitive or just, maybe deny people because you don't have an existing relationship with them. But I feel like they're more lenient than we give them credit for, so I don't see this as being a big negative. Second, though, you cannot transfer any of your points earned on any of the other Altitude credit cards with US Bank to the Altitude Reserve, meaning that it kind of functions in its own points ecosystem. And third, the biggest con of this credit card is the fact that it does not have access to any transfer partners. US Bank doesn't have transfer partners, so for those of us on team travel, that would be why we kind of push it down the line and don't get it until the late game. However, I do think that those cons are outweighed by all of the perks that this card gives you. And to start here, probably the thing that I'm most looking forward to whenever I do have this card is that it gives you 3x back on all mobile wallet purchases. And that's really ideal for all of us because it makes it a 3% catch-all credit card, considering that in our more tech-oriented lifestyle these days, most things can be purchased using a mobile wallet. So already that's a standout feature on its own, but it actually only gets more powerful with the second biggest perk that I really love about it. And that is that with the US Bank Altitude Reserve, you get a 50% points boost whenever you book travel through the US Bank travel portal or through their real-time rewards feature. Real-time rewards is a very unique benefit, and basically how it functions is that as soon as you make a purchase within the 4 categories that you select for real-time rewards, you'll get a text that allows you to redeem your points to cover that charge for you at 1.5 cents per point. And shout out to Stan for these screenshots here. These are all the options that you can choose from for the real-time rewards. And like I said, what this does is basically give you a flat 1.5 cent per point redemption rate for all of your points earned on this card, which is the same boost that the Chase Sapphire Reserve provides you just through their travel portal. And this bumps the 3% mobile wallet category on this card to a flat 4.5% back on every purchase. Both of those alone are amazing, but we haven't even touched on the main credit that this card offers, the 325 annual dining and travel credit. I haven't mentioned it yet, but this card does have a pretty hefty $400 annual fee associated with it. But whenever you consider this credit alone, the effective annual fee is only $75, which is much lower than a lot of the premium travel credit cards out there. And yes, you heard me right. This is a dining and travel credit, so it is super easy to get value from, even easier than the $300 annual travel credit on the Chase Sapphire Reserve. So those are the standout benefits to me, but some of its other perks include a decent sign-up bonus of 50,000 points after spending $4,500 in the first 90 days, 5x back on hotels and car rentals through the Altitude Rewards Center, 3x on travel, a Priority Pass Select membership for 4 visits for you and 4 for a guest, totaling 8, a TSA pre-checker global entry credit, and more. This is a card I could easily see slotting into my in-game setup, and I'd say it's definitely one to consider even though it does lack the transfer partners. It's just such a simple and easy card to get value from, and I feel like as time goes on in the credit card game, you start to value simplicity more and more, and this card is basically the perfect card in that category. The second card on my list is going to be the Amex Platinum Charles Schwab version. Now, I've talked a lot about the vanilla Amex Platinum card before, but this is the Charles Schwab version, which basically just takes the vanilla version and adds a twist. And that twist is really the only reason that I've been eyeing this credit card since I started my credit card journey. The main selling point for this card is that you can actually take your membership rewards points and convert them at a 1.1 cent per point redemption rate to your Charles Schwab brokerage account, and then you can take the money from the brokerage account directly to your checking account, practically giving you a 1.1 cent per point valuation in cash back for all of your Amex points. Yes, I know it's kind of crazy that we have to pay $695 to be able to get a respectable cashback earning rate from your Amex points. But if you were somebody that wanted to use your points in that fashion, the alternative without this card would be only getting 0.6 cents per point, which you should never do. So basically, this card would just give me more options when it comes to redeeming my Amex points. However, while I was researching for this video, actually in a live stream I did with Joe Barretto a few weeks ago, I was reminded of another card that may actually fit me better than this one does. And that card would be the Amex Business Platinum paired with my Amex Business checking account. With that card and the account, you're able to redeem your Amex points to your business checking account for 1 cent per point. And now you may be wondering why I would want to go that route instead of the Charles Schwab version that would give me a 10% boost further than the business card would. And it really comes down to the fact that I could get the Amex Business Platinum card right now without any hard pulls, without impacting my 524 status. And if I wanted to go with the Charles Schwab Platinum instead, it would not only take me a couple of years, but add 2 cards to my 524 count. And I say it would take a couple of years to get that card because I would first go for the Amex Vanilla Platinum card for its elevated sign-up bonus, wait a year of holding that one, then apply for the Charles Schwab version without the welcome offer, unfortunately, at the same time that I canceled or downgraded my Vanilla Platinum. So yes, I could do that and get an extra 10% boost on my points, but being able to skip those steps and again, not add to my 524 count and get almost the same exact value by using the Business Platinum and the business checking account instead, just has me leaning towards the latter option there. Plus, of course, I always have the option in the future to go for the Charles Schwab Platinum whenever my 524 status doesn't matter as much to me. So that's something to consider too. Also note that with the Business Platinum card, I could easily see myself getting at least $800 worth of value from the credits alone on the card. And those credits are different from the personal one, so that's something to think about. Plus, it would still give me access to the airport lounges, the fine hotels and resorts collection, and more. So the card would easily give me positive value. What do y'all think though? What would you do in my situation? But back to the Amex Platinum Charles Schwab version, since that's kind of what this section was supposed to be about. This card is basically a carbon copy of the Vanilla Platinum card at that same $695 annual fee. So you still get access to the $1,500 plus worth of credits on the card, plus all of its other benefits that I've covered in past videos, such as 5x back on airfare booked directly with the airline or via Amex Travel, 5x on prepaid hotels when booking through Amex Travel, access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection, complimentary Marriott Bonvoy Gold Elite status and Hilton Honors Gold status, access to the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts Collection, and more. However, its biggest downside in comparison to the Vanilla Platinum is the fact that it does not get elevated welcome offers on it. And since we can now only get one welcome offer between all of the Amex Platinum versions, like I mentioned earlier, you'd want to go for the Vanilla first because you can get an elevated offer on it, and then later add this one without the offer. Despite that though, this is just the best personal Platinum option in my opinion. But again, that Business Platinum may effectively replace this one on my list if I'm being honest. Third on the list is the Hilton Aspire credit card. This card isn't necessarily a secret like I kind of alluded to the other cards being in this video, but it's 100% one that I would love to add to my setup for the following reasons. First, it's going to give you complimentary Hilton Diamond status. Diamond status is Hilton's top tier status and comes with benefits like room upgrades, especially overseas, daily food and beverage credits, early check-in, late check-out, and a ton more. And the fact that you can just fast track to this status by paying $550 on the annual fee for this card is just crazy to me. That actually can be a bit of a negative though, as I've talked about before, because with how easy it is to get, that means that it's kind of watered down, at least in the US. But I do hear that having that status internationally is where it really comes to play. No matter what though, having this status through this card without having to stay 60 paid nights, 30 separate stays, or earning 120,000 base points is honestly game changing. Now pair that elite status with the second biggest benefit on this card in my opinion, the annual weekend free night, and now you have some really serious value. The annual free weekend night can be used at any Hilton property, including high-end resorts that can reach into the $1,000 plus range per night. So this benefit alone can make the $550 annual fee worth it, especially if used strategically at the right properties. You do have to be careful with this free night though, because if you are booking a place that costs, say, $1,000 a night, you only get one of those nights free. So the rest of those nights are either going to come out of your pocket or from your points. So again, strategy is the name of the game. Hilton free nights though are the most valuable out of any hotel ecosystem because of the fact that they are not capped. And even though it may be really hard to find nights at those sought after places like the Maldives or Bora Bora, you can still get crazy value from these nights even within the US. Other than those two main perks, this card also offers some really high limited time welcome offers after spending $6,000 in 6 months, 14x back on Hilton hotels and resorts, 7x back on select travel, including flights booked directly through airlines or through Amex Travel and car rentals, 7x on US restaurants, 3x on all other purchases. But remember to taper back these earning categories by say 20 to 50% because Hilton's point valuations are not as high as other hotel ecosystems out there. Their general estimation is 0.6 cents per point for your reference. Plus this card gives you $400 worth of Hilton resort credits, $200 worth of flight credits, a $199 Clear Plus credit, a $100 Hilton on property credit, and more. So needless to say, the Hilton Aspire card is still the best hotel credit card out there for many of us. And even though I'm not a Hilton loyalist right now, I can still get this card today and get positive value from it very easily. And I think that says something. And if I do like the status enough whenever I test out this card, I just may default to Hilton for more stays. We'll just have to see. Next, we've got the Southwest Priority card. This is one I've talked about in past videos on my channel before. And out of all of the cards in this video, this is the one that's going to get added the soonest. Long story short, with this card, even if you just travel with Southwest a few times per year, this card is a steal. And even though it has the highest annual fee out of all of the personal Southwest cards at $149, it actually provides the most positive value from its credits and benefits, which makes it the best personal card to choose in reality. Speaking of, the first credit that I look forward to having with this card is the $75 annual Southwest travel credit. This is obviously a super simple credit to get value out of since it applies to just all Southwest purchases. And that plus the second main credit of an anniversary 7,500 points that they give you per year, and the annual fee is already wiped without considering any of its other benefits. Just for reference here too, Southwest miles can be valued at an average of 1.4 cents per point, at least at the time of me recording, and this may change in 2025 whenever they make changes to their seat assignments and stuff, but as of right now, these points are worth an average of $100 or so. As for additional benefits, this card will give you 4 upgraded boardings per year, 3x on Southwest purchases, 2x on Rapid Rewards hotel and car rental partners, local transit and commuting, internet, cable and phone services, and select streaming, 25% back on in-flight purchases, the ability to earn 1,500 tier qualifying points towards A-list status for every $10,000 you spend, and 10,000 companion pass qualifying points every year. Now, speaking of those companion pass qualifying points, this card is one that can get you a majority of the way towards the Southwest Companion Pass, which I'd say is the best deal in the entire airline credit card space, at least if you travel anything like me. The Southwest Companion Pass basically gives you the ability to buy one, get one free with every Southwest flight, and the flight that you buy can actually be bought using points, so it's just kind of crazy value. And this year will be the first time that I've ever gone for the Companion Pass, which means I'm going to be getting this card in combination with one of the business cards, probably the Performance Business, so me and my girlfriend can travel domestically for even cheaper. I'll be making a full video soon about how to get the Companion Pass, so make sure you're subscribed for that down below. Overall, this card is probably going to become a staple in my setup for years to come. It's probably going to be one that I really never cancel, except for every 2 years whenever I cancel the card and reapply in order to get the Companion Pass again. And now it's time to talk about a late addition to this list, the Wyndham Earner Business card. This is one that really had to fight for its spot, and after I talk about it, I'll share all of the runner-ups that were really close to making it into this video, but the Wyndham Earner Business definitely earned its place. Similar to all the other cards we talked about today, there are 2 main reasons that I really can't wait to add this card to my setup. And the biggest one is that it gives you automatic Wyndham Diamond status. You may be wondering why I would even care about Wyndham Diamond status considering I've never talked about staying at Wyndham properties before, but let me let you in on what this provides. First off, this is Wyndham's top tier status, so you're fast tracking your way to that once again. And it comes with many big benefits like suite upgrades, early check-in, late check-out, welcome amenities at participating hotels, and a lot more. However, arguably the biggest value that this status provides is that you can status match it over to Caesars Rewards Diamond status as well. Caesars Diamond status is going to give you a lot of perks like 15% off of the best advertised rate on rooms and suites, waived resorts fees, 20% discounts on a lot of, like gift shops and stuff with Caesars. Plus you'll get stuff like complimentary valet and self-parking at their properties. You'll be able to skip all of their lines, and it just gives you a lot of perks. And the most insane of them all is the fact that you can get a free complimentary stay, including room taxes, but not the resort fees and stuff like that, at Atlantis in the Bahamas once a year during most months. This is another card that Joe Barreto put me on our live together, and I knew it was powerful, but I did not know it was that powerful, and I'm really interested to see how that perk actually shapes up in the real world. And further than the status that the Wyndham Earner Business provides, it also has some really elevated earning categories. Before I list them out, just know that Wyndham's points can be valued at an average of 1.1 cents per point, so these categories aren't subtly inflated like the earning categories on the Hilton cards, for example. Now, what are those categories? Well, this card's going to give you 8x back at Wyndham properties and on gas stations, plus 5x back on marketing, advertising, and utilities. And for me, the gas stations and utilities categories are what speak to me the most. You really can't beat those categories with any other credit card out there. However, remember that you're earning Wyndham points here, which can really only be used at Wyndham properties. So that's a bit of a trade-off compared to like a transferable currency card or a cashback card. Aside from those 2 big benefits that I'm excited to use, this card also offers a decent welcome offer of 40,000 points for $4,000 spent in 3 months, 15,000 bonus points points every anniversary year, which I didn't mention as one of my top 2 benefits, but this alone would cover the annual fee on this card, which is just awesome. A 10% discount on Go Free award nights, which is basically just any night booked fully in points, and more. So all of this for a $95 annual fee. I mean, come on now. I will note that this is one that could be a little bit annoying to get approved for because it's with Barclays and they have weird application rules. But since I keep such a strong pulse on my Chase 524 status, I don't think this one should be too difficult for me. As promised, here's a quick section breaking down all of the cards that almost made it into this list, but had something keeping them out of it. If y'all wanted a full video about these cards too, let me know. I could do that for you. But let's start with the World of Hyatt card. Y'all know I love Hyatt, so why did this one not make the list? Well, to be honest, the current personal World of Hyatt card just really doesn't do anything for me. If they ever do release a luxury version of this card though, I can almost promise you that I would jump on it immediately. I'd love to have a bit higher status with Hyatt, a better free night award, and other beneficial perks similar to a card like the Hilton Aspire. But for now, since it doesn't really do that for me, I'll just continue transferring out my Bilt and Chase points to Hyatt to make my bookings instead. That also keeps me from using up another 524 slot, so there you go. Next up is the IHG One Rewards Premier Business card, and this one may be a bit of a surprise, but I've heard some raving reviews about it. I also recently stayed at a Kimpton property in New Orleans for the creator meetup, and after that stay, I could definitely see myself staying at more IHG properties over time. In general though, I really just want a broad coverage of hotel status with like every hotel chain, and this card provides that for you with IHG, specifically platinum status with them, without adding to your 524 count, so I'm all for it. After that, we have the Marriott Brilliant and Ritz Carlton cards, a little 2-for-1 for you. Having one or both of these cards could provide some serious upside value for you if you're wanting to fork up that cash. Having both of them would cost over $1,000, so you'd really need to be a Marriott loyalist to have these cards make sense. And right now, that's just not me. If you did have both of them though, you could bank away 2 85,000 point free night awards and Platinum Elite status that the Brilliant card gives you, which can make for one really nice stay at Marriott properties every year. Would you pay $1,100 for that luxury though? That's where you have to ask yourself that question. And one other card that I was pretty shocked almost made it into this video as a feature card was the Venture X Business. The reason it intrigues me is because it's just a carbon copy of the personal Venture X, which I've mentioned I may end up downgrading in the future. So if I ever wanted to do that, I could just first go for the Venture X Business, keep all of the same perks that I had on the personal one, and get an elevated welcome offer on the business version. Then again though, the minimum spending requirement for the Venture X Business card's welcome offer is $30,000, which is really, really high. So I don't foresee myself being able to even get this card for a while. It would have to be like some large tax purchases paired with some other big purchases in my life, but if I'm spending $30,000 in 3 months, I'm going to need to be making more money than I am now. Funny enough, basically all of the cards in this video were a luxury travel credit card in some degree. And if you want to hear me compare the difference between all of the premium travel credit cards before you pick one, go ahead and click into this video next. But if you only really travel domestically and don't care for all of those high annual fees, click on the one under it instead. As always, Odin and I both want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.